What up, what up? So marvelous in the fucking Hemi. So I'm thinking, this is the holiday season, right? And it's typically a stressful time for most people. Typically between Halloween and, let's say, Valentine's Day. It's the end of the year. You're dealing with a lot of deadlines at work. You're hanging out around with family. You might get along with them or you might not. You have to buy presents. Money is tight. So this is a very stressful time of year. So I want to offer some potential ways to alleviate this stress. This video is going to be about healing from toxic relationships. This is something you can use for this time of year. I just figured it was a good time to put this out now, but this is something that you can use for the rest of your life. Again, like I said before, I'm not a psychologist, anything like that, nor do I try to be one. I just want to enlighten and offer some strategies that could potentially open up your consciousness, which you can take those and you can use those strategies to where now you can, I want to initiate and get the ball rolling, initiate the thought process and expanding your consciousness and your mind. All right. So this one right here, we're going to start off. You're going to see me looking down a couple of times. I'm reading from notes, as you know I always do. What happens is this: when you're in a toxic relationship, whether that relationship is work, play, family, whatever it is, girlfriend, boyfriend, when you're in a toxic relationship, a lot of things happen, not just to you physically and emotionally, but psychologically, every way. So we're going to talk about the physical response. What happens is that your central nervous system actually becomes initiated. As human beings, we're not supposed to be under such stress for elongated periods of time. Back in the day, you might have to run from something really quick. The fight or flight, boom, you run, you get to safety. Something stressing you, you don't have food, boom, you find food. Now you're no longer have that central nervous system stress response in that capacity. But what happens in this iteration of society is that, you're under stressful circumstances for months, sometimes years, and your body is not equipped to handle that. So the stress response in the body, the first phase, is the flight or fight, like I just mentioned just now. Adrenaline, have that response, boom, you're done, right? So now what happens is, like I said a minute ago, is that we're sustaining that fight or flight for such a long time, and then your body has to respond to it in other ways. The second phase in the stress response, you go into a resistance phase. Now what happens in this phase, you get into a negative way of what's happening is you have a negative way of coping with stress. Your body goes into an inflammatory state. And I'm not sure if you know who Dr. Sebi is, but if you don't know, look him up. But there's two things that he says. One, the root of almost every illness in human beings is inflammation and over mucus production. So think about it. Arthritis is what? Inflammation of the joints. Bronchitis is inflammation of, your lungs, the bronchi, right? So this is the root of most evil, or the root of most illness in the body, So look him up if you don't know who he is. A brilliant man. So if you're in an inflammatory state, now that's when your body is susceptible to all types of, illnesses and issues and aches and pains. Your body's going to start hurting, things of that nature. So what now, as we know, our bodies are always looking for balance. Every way, emotionally, physically, we always look for balance. Our spirits look for balance. So now what happens is your body fights the overproduction of adrenaline, and now you produce a lot of cortisol, which is an anti-inflammatory. That's your body's natural defense. But the longer you stay into that second phase, which is you're in the second phase where your body's trying to regulate itself with cortisol production, it actually has more issues that arise because of that. Even though cortisol, yes, will help the inflammation, but now what happens is that you start to have protein catabolism now. So all that muscle you work for, you're gonna lose a little bit of it. You're gonna have production of serotonin, digestive difficulties, and then with those digestive difficulties, you become malnourished because now you're not actually absorbing nutrients that you're supposed to be absorbing. You vitamin deficient, things of that nature, mineral deficiencies you start to develop. So now that ball starts going, and now you start having more issues because of stress. Like, stress will really kill you, and people don't realize that. And I just want to give you some of the ways it can, and how it can really fuck up your whole way of being, Now, what happens is the third phase. In the third phase, this is the exhaustion phase. There's been testimonies of people who literally just became like catatonic, and they're in their bed and they just can't get up. They're just always tired. They're just exhausted, and you burn out. It's when your body's like, I can't do this anymore. You're just like a fucking walking zombie, The thing about it is this: if your central nervous system is chronically stuck in flight or fight mode, it can never go into rest and digest mode. And that's what I was saying before, as far as when you're resting, you're digesting, you're absorbing nutrients from the food, you're actually getting everything that you need from your food and from whatever you're putting into your body. You can never go into this phase if you're constantly stuck in fight or flight. Now, there's multiple things you can do to calm the central nervous system. One of them is the obvious, is getting rid of toxic relationships. Learning how to listen to your spirit, your soul. You might not have to know why. I know as men, we always try to figure shit out, and we want to understand things, which is good. But if someone doesn't sit with your spirit, or a situation doesn't sit with your soul correctly, and you have a visceral knee-jerk response to that person or situation, get the fuck out of it. It's real simple. You can figure it out later, but get out of it, listen to your soul, move the fuck on. These people become energy vampires. And you know what I say, people, when they'll call you, and just for example, they'll call you and they'll never ask you shit about your day. They just call you and start talking for an hour. You know what I mean? Then people are energy vampires, and those people are just as bad. They're toxic. It's a different level of toxic, though, because you don't even really realize what they're doing. They're just sucking your energy away, and you need that energy for yourself to recover, rest, and repair. All right? Another thing you can do is figure out what makes you happy and just do that shit. It's real simple. I mean, not to say America's the best thing ever, but as far as upward mobility, you have the ability to be able to do whatever you want. There's countries where you can't. You don't have that option. So while you're here, one thing that bothers me a lot is people making excuses for shit. You can do whatever you want in this world, and you must know that. You have to really understand that. You have to live in abundance. You hear me talk about that sometimes too. There's a lot of people who have a scarcity mindset. They're always looking at things and thinking about what might go wrong. But you have to then say, I'm going to manifest what will go right. Based on what my will, I'm going to will my reality to bend and shape and mold itself to whatever I feel my destiny is. And until you have that mindset, you're going to always be a part of someone else's reality. Do you understand that, this world that we're a part of right now, all these laws that we follow, they're literally physical manifestations of somebody else's reality. Somebody had a thought, they wanted a car. Where I'm in a car right now, they had a thought. They said, I'm going to make this thing that's going to transport people from point A to point B, and now this becomes part of my reality because of what they had inside of their head and their heart. So when you look at it like that, you could be the same. You can have that same effect on somebody else, and you damn sure can have it on your own reality. Because if you can't control anything, you can control your motherfucking self. Now I'm gonna backtrack 1 second. There's things like when you're in that toxic relationship and you're in that fight or flight and you're in that inflammation mode. Things like fibromyalgia can arise because of it. I just want to really impart on y'all how serious it is to get out of toxic relationships. Like, it can literally, it's called something called somatization. It can literally have a physical response on that emotion that you're feeling, and these people draining your energy can have a physical response, and it can literally make you ill. So I just wanted to go back and backtrack, and I really want to drive that point home because it is that serious, and I really want y'all to understand that. Now, as far as another way you can help and heal from a toxic relationship is go to therapy. A lot of niggas, especially in the black community, we don't believe in therapy. Like, go do that shit. You know, understanding your emotions. You know, because the thing about it is that, now I don't remember the exact numbers, but whoever the fastest man on earth or fastest woman as far as speech, as far as how many words per minute they can speak, whatever that is that the human is capable of speaking, how many words per minute you can speak, your brain actually processes things 3 times faster than that. So whatever you're feeling, even if you can't get it all out, it's still there and it's still affecting you, and those words that you're not getting out are affecting your subconscious or your soul, how I like to look at it or conceptualize it. Your soul is hearing that. So if you can't even verbalize a little bit of things and understand your emotions, then what do you think that your soul is recording? What do you think that your subconscious is recording? And we have to be aware of that. So going to a psychologist gives you an ability to be able to really understand your thoughts and put words to those emotions and really manage them a little bit better. Because if you don't manage them, they're gonna manage you, and somebody else is gonna be managing them. So best thing to do is go to a psychologist. There's other things you can do on a nutritional level, like increase your magnesium, your zinc, your potassium, hydration. Water is very important. You should have about 3 liters a day. That helps to remove all the toxic waste from the foods that we eat, things that we breathe in the air, all of that, even all the chemical processes that occur in your body just to make you walk. Water is crucial. We're comprised of most of our bodies are made mostly of water, so you need to drink a lot of water, mineral water at that. I like Fiji. That's whatever you want to have, but some natural mineral water is really good for you. And a lot of that shit. More sleep, fruits and vegetables. Pretty much you don't want to eat shit with a barcode on it. Now, obviously, you're going to have certain foods like that, but you have to do it. Everything's about 80-20. So 80%, have natural shit. 20%, all right, go ahead, go to White Castle, or whatever your vice is. You can have that, but you also have to balance and give your body what it needs. God made us in perfect harmony with the world. So we need to eat fruits and vegetables and foods that God made to be in sync with the world and made to be in sync with us, and vice versa. When you start getting into all that science and eating shit that's chemically created in the lab, that's why niggas got so much high blood pressure. That's why niggas got so much issues physically. It's not because we're more frail. It's because we're a premium car. We're a fucking premium ass car, a premium machine, and we're putting bullshit gas in it. That's what the issue is. If you have a BMW and you're putting 89 in that, what's gonna happen? You gotta give it the high grade shit, or you're not gonna get the best performance out of it. And that's how your bodies are. Another thing is exercise. Exercise is a big deal. As far as like you can actually do things like yoga. That's very good as far as with spirituality. Calming your breathing is so important. Stretching you out. We keep lots of stress in our bodies. A lot of times people have lower back pain, if you notice, in this society. Yes, because of sitting all day. Yes, because of bad posture, but also just because of stress. We keep a lot of stress in our hips as well. For example, what's one yoga instructor told me is a position called a pigeon pose, and people would do that position in her class, and they sometimes just start crying, and they wouldn't even understand why, but because you keep so much tension in your body and tension in your hips, and when you release that, it helps you also to release it emotionally as well. Yes, we are a spirit with a body, but we're also a body with we have a body as well, and our body records things. It records stress, it records trauma, etc., etc. So being able to relax your body will help you relax your mind, relax your soul, and your soul relaxes your body. It's like it's a circular type of thing, and I think that people need to understand that as well and take care of your body, because it's going to be kind of hard for you to take care and elevate your consciousness when you're in pain. That's all you're focused on at that point in time. So another thing that you need to do is creating boundaries. People, it is physically possible to be addicted to a person. There's certain chemicals that are released when you hug somebody or when you're in love. The same thing that is released in certain drugs. When you have certain drugs that hit and you feel great, you can get that same feeling from a person. So it's literally physically possible for you to be addicted to a person, the way they make you feel. And you have to have strong boundaries when dealing with people, because it's nothing to play with, So when I say boundaries, you have to then do your knowledge of self, understand who you are and who you're not, understand what makes you happy and what doesn't make you happy. So then now when in interacting with people, you're able to say, listen, I fuck with you, but don't cross this line. This is a problem for me. You know what I'm saying? I give you all of this, but just that's for me. And if you can't respect it, this piece right here is for me, then you're not respecting me as a man or a woman or whoever is watching this video. And if they can't do that, then they don't need to be in your life. A lot of people feel that are habitual line steppers and crossers and boundary breakers, and they do that because they need to have access to everything. But those people are typically irresponsible with that power when they get it. And then why would you let somebody have something that's so precious and have access to something so precious and they don't even value it? They're gonna break it. So we might not have a money tree. We have to work for our money. We have to work for our finances. But we can have unlimited happiness. But the same you have to work for that money is the same you have to work for your happiness as well. And we can't let anybody have access to innermost emotions of what makes us tick and our innermost emotions. Because the same way you had to work for it and you had to, do a lot of introspection and create those boundaries and know who you are, know who you're not. Unless that person interacting with you has that same respect for who you are as a man, then they don't need to be there. It's real simple. There's plenty of people out here who will love to have you in their lives and would cherish you. And it's not about kissing nobody's ass, but it's about just understanding that, the value that you possess, and then making other people, and not even making them shove it down their throat, but just carrying yourself in a way that they have to respect you. And then that way you don't have access to even have to worry about healing, because you're not giving them access to your innermost self unless they show you that they're worthy of that and respect that. And then you don't have to worry about healing, because now you have your defense up, and not defense in a way, in a bad way, but you have your defense up to where only people who are going to get through that defense is people who's worthy of it. I think a lot of times as men, we worry about everybody else and make sure everybody else is good and everybody else is taken care of. But a lot of times no one does the same thing for us. and they're not worried about, they'll be, oh, he'll be okay. Especially people who are strong, they're like, oh, he'll be fine, he'll figure it out. But unless you know how to take care of yourself, how's anybody else gonna know how to take care of you?